Downtown Detroit, Michigan, known as Motown and the Motor City, welcomes tens of thousands of excited Monster Jam fans who are ready to rock and roll with Stadium Championship Series East. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monster Jam Primetime. I'm Scott Jordan alongside my broadcast partner, Adam Ensicknap. And after a week off from pointed events, Stadium Championship Series East is back at it tonight at Ford Field. And this series has tightened up in a major way since Houston with a disastrous freestyle for Gravedigger that allowed Zombie to gain 10 points in the standings. And Adam, for Tyler Menninga being the World Finals freestyle champion, this is not something you expect to see at this point in the season.
Yeah, Scott, not at all. It's definitely uncharacteristic from Tyler, but the expectations are so high on Tyler Menninga after last year. I think that's weighing on him just a little bit. He has a World Finals championship. He has a series championship, and we expect to see him towards the front at all times. Not only that, but he got disqualified and got 0 points from that freestyle. That has got to be so frustrating. He needs to turn that momentum around.
And Bari Musawwir was the benefactor of those points, winning the overall at Energy Stadium. Is now tied for the lead on this series with 3 event championship wins. He also won an arena event in his hometown of Cleveland. Adam, Bari has a lot of momentum right now, but does the Zombie hype train come to a screeching halt in Detroit?
No way, it does not come to a stop. You know, with Tyler Menninga and Bari, those are two kind of opposite stories. Bari Musawwir has so much talent, and I feel like he sneaks under the radar with low expectations, and this season he has been wondrous. It's cool to see Bari Musawwir performing the way he is. He's got a little luck on his side, plus a little talent.
Michigan is the home of Team Scream Racing, and tonight Jim and Chris return to Ford Field with a lot of Michigan pride and a home track advantage. Adam, what is the pressure like for an athlete to win in their hometown?
Well, there is a lot of pressure for sure, but there's two sides to the coin. You can either take that and crumble underneath that pressure because you know all eyes are on you, but you can also take that energy, harness it, and know that the hometown crowd is behind you 100%. No matter what, if you do good or bad, they're going to love you. Take advantage of that here tonight in Detroit.
Well, let's hear from the hometown boys, Jim and Chris Kohler, as we join Leslie Mears in this Northern Tool and Equipment Pit Report.
No one loves Detroit like the Kohlers, and I know, Jim, you're really excited. Also, coming off a huge freestyle victory in Houston. So what kind of momentum does that give you coming into your hometown show here?
Oh, you know, anytime you come to hometown, it doesn't matter what you did the week before or the week before that. It's the electricity from the fans here in the building. These people are my people. This is where I grew up. These are my people. They love me here. So on our worst days, on our best days, they're going to be cheering for me and rooting me. And when the people start cheering, I get fired up. When I get fired up, craziness happens. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, we can't wait to see that. And for you, Chris, you said that this is your kind of dirt, this is your kind of track out here.
Yeah, the dirt's perfect. We just came from Houston. Dad had an awesome freestyle win, but the biggest problem for me there, it's too tacky. This dirt's slidey, it's slippery. You can get away with a lot more in terms of freestyle, drifting around and racing. I cannot wait. The hometown crowd, electric. I loved it. Last year we had a crazy freestyle, probably the freestyle of my career, and hopefully we do it even bigger tonight. We have thousands of friends and family out here tonight alone, you know, plus the 48,000 other people, you know, and it's just so cool. It really is something special.
Well, I tell you what, it's electric in here. These guys giving off a good vibe. I think we're in for one, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leslie. Here's tonight's driver lineup for the East Series. Cynthia Gauthier won the overall here in 2019. Colt Stevens won it last year. Adam, who steps up and gets it done tonight?
Well, we got to look at the Kohlers. They're going to be a wild card here tonight, but the two drivers I'm looking at is Bari Musawwir, Tyler Menninga. See who is going to solidify themselves as the top contender in this series.
I mentioned the contender of the series points, and we're going to go to that right now. Here's your updated season point standings coming into Detroit. There's your 299 to 288 advantage for Gravedigger over Zombie. Jurassic Attack in third. And Toro Loco Classroom Crusher are tied for fourth, and there's Thunder Roars in sixth. Drivers will compete tonight at 3 competitions: JCB Racing, the Skills Challenge, and Freestyle. Points are awarded based on finish, with 12 going to the winner. And the driver with the most points at the end of the event is crowned overall event champion. It's time for track talk. Let's discuss the race lanes in practice. The gray lane caused issues for drivers as it appeared slicker than the blue. So if you get pushed into that gray lane, Adam, how do you handle it?
Well, one of the big things is you're just going to have to be a little bit smoother, and you're going to have to pick your points. One of the things I've noticed about this racetrack is that you really have to figure out your braking point coming into that last corner. Do you brake a little earlier and set the truck up, or do you wait a little longer and try to grab that cushion? You're gonna have to figure that out, and that's gonna be the decision maker tonight.
Up first, it will be JCB Racing. Let's take a look at our round one bracket. And there you see the round two buys: Lucas Stabilizer, Gravedigger, Zombie, and Avenger. Adam, a fascinating stat from this series. Only 4 drivers have a winning record this season. They are literally beating each other, which makes these round one matchups even more unpredictable.
Yeah, that makes it so much fun for the fans. It makes it fun for us, but definitely somebody I'm looking at is Classroom Crusher in that Megalodon meetup and the potential Gravedigger meetup as well.
Menninga looking strong there in round two. Well, it's time to go down to the track at Ford Field and get our first green light of the evening as we kick off the competition with the JCB Racing bracket. There you see our 2 trucks lined up on those racing pods. Chris Kohler, Mayhem in the blue lane, and Armando Castro, El Toro Loco in the gray lane. We got our first green light, and we are off and running in Motown. It is Mayhem against El Toro Loco, and right now it is Chris Kohler with a slight lead.
It looks like Armando Castro jumped a little far out that jump and goes wide in turn 2.
Along that big straightaway, a chance to get a lot of throttle speed going. Chris Kohler looking strong again. Armando with a great turn, goes a little sideways, though it's going to cost him. And Chris Kohler, Mayhem, gets a win in Detroit, 22.5 through 8. Here's the original Super Glue. Glue to the action replay.
Yeah, you can see it here coming into this last turn. It is very slick. Watch the shiny dirt coming up right there. You're just roosting off the dirt with the BKT tires. No traction for the moment. That gray lane's going to be tough.
Camden Murphy, Classroom Crusher up on the gray side. Kevin Crocker, Megalodon in the blue lane. And Camden Murphy and Kevin Crocker both with nice starts down the ramp and into that turn. And here comes Classroom Crusher. Now this is where Camden Murphy excels on the far side of the track.
Kevin Crocker did great in that first turn, but seems to go very wide in the second turn. This is going to be a great race here.
Final corner, though, Megalodon goes deep. Classroom Crusher takes a nice turn and keeps it by the pod. Camden Murphy advancing to round 2, 22.551. Here's the original Super Glue. Glue to the action replay.
Kevin had that race under control at the beginning, but I talked about braking points coming in that last turn. He just braked a little too late, pushed out wide, and man, is it slick here in Detroit.
Our next race is all-team throttle monster. There's Mike Christensen and Vendetta, Dalton Widener. Jurassic Attack, Dalton 16-7 on the year with 3 racing wins. And here we go into that bermed corner. Both taking it great, and right now we are even as we get to that near side.
Dalton Widener seems to get that right front wheel up there, has to let off the throttle just a little bit, but good braking point into the last turn.
Mike Christensen making this close, but he did go wide on the final corner. That's going to give Dalton Widener the advantage, and that's going to give Dalton Widener the win, 22.138. Take a look at the original Super Glue. Glue to the action replay.
Dalton Widener getting right into that cushion, but does a fantastic job hitting the brakes and getting the truck turned around with a phenomenal apex.
Up next, Joe Foley in X, Colt Stevens, Thunder Roars. With more on this race, let's check in with Leslie Mears.
Cole told me he chose the blue lane over the gray for a couple reasons. One, in practice, he said that gray lane was really, really slick. Then he said the other thing is there's some wings on that jump over there that can really trip you up and really mess you up as you come around the turn. So that's why he's staying in the blue.
And we talked about that during Track Talk. We see drivers strategizing because of practice on this slick dirt. But here we go into the finish. Colt Stevens, Thunder Roars, big air over the finish line. And Colt Stevens moving on with a time of 22.634.
We're going to watch Joe Foley here. He comes in just a little bit tight, making it so he can't get the truck turned around the pod as tight, hits the throttle hard. He knows he has to make up time. Unfortunately, does not make it onto that race ramp, gets a 5-second penalty as well.
Let's take a look at the bracket. Moving into round 2 with JCB Racing, Lucas Stabilizer, Mayhem, Gravedigger, Classroom Crusher, Zombie, Jurassic Attack, and Avenger and Thunder Roars. Fastest round one time, Dalton Widener, Jurassic Attack, 22.138. Coming up, Cynthia Gauthier was the fastest qualifier in the bracket. Lucas Stabilizer is next on Primetime. Monster Jam is brought to you by JCB, the official heavy equipment partner of Monster Jam. We are back with more Stadium Championship Series East at Ford Field in Detroit. And up first in round 2, Cynthia Gauthier and Lucas Stabilizer against Chris Kohler and Mayhem. With more on this, we go to Leslie.
See you picked up that #1 qualifying spot with the help of a little extra practice. She said when she was in Houston, she took a couple extra practice laps on Friday to try to figure out that final turn, and it just gave her a lot of confidence, and it really paid off for her in that event to get that #1 spot.
Well, she's got the lead right now. She goes into the corner, takes it really wide, though. Chris Kohler clips the pod. That could cost him. He's going all over the place on that far side, and Cynthia Gauthier gets the win. 5-second penalty on Mayhem, and Cynthia's going over as well. All kinds of chaos in Detroit so far.
Definitely a lot of chaos. Looks like Chris Kohler's coming into that last corner just a little bit tight, hits the brakes too hard, and it's so slick in that last turn that it actually rotates the truck around, loses that traction. And here's Cynthia. She knows she's a little bit behind from that second corner, hits the throttle super hard, throws caution to the wind, gets a little side swapped, and bounces, lands on the hood.
Next up, Camden Murphy, Classroom Crusher, and he's going to go up against Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger. Tyler comes into this race 26-4 on the season with 7 JCB Racing wins, the best in the sport right now. And here we go, Camden Murphy, Tyler Menninga. Tyler goes a little too wide there. That might cost him as well.
Tyler's supposed to be in the better lane, goes wide again. Camden Murphy seems to be on rails right now. This could be an upset.
This would be an upset this season. Tyler Menninga slowed down in the blue corner, and Camden Murphy's going to get the win. So Classroom Crusher gets it done. Tyler Menninga out of JCB Racing.
It just looks like he has to hit the brakes a little hard, doesn't get the rotation he wants. He's going to turn a little too tight, has to stall for just a second to get back on the throttle, giving Camden Murphy the window he needs for the big upset.
Frustration continuing for Tyler Menninga and Team Gravedigger. Next up, it is going to be Dalton Wider in Jurassic Attack going up against Bari Musawwir in Zombie. Bari 16-10 with a racing win, and here we go, another green light. This is a huge race for Bari. It's a chance to add on and still continue to try to catch Tyler Menninga to become the series points leader.
Bari clips the wing on the landing there, coming out of turn 1.
Final turn here, Bari Musawwir in the blue lane, Dalton Wider the gray lane. Zombie with a nice corner. It's going to be a race to the finish, and Zombie gets the win. So Bari Musawwir gets it done. He's going to get some of those points at him.
Wow, that was a very, very close race. Bari Musawwir getting the win by just a tiny bit, but that's all it takes.
22.013 is the time. Next up, Colt Stevens, Thunderoris, Jim Kohler in Avenger. You got to love that Detroit Lions blue and black paint scheme there on that Jim Kohler Avenger body. And here we go, Colt Stevens, Jim Kohler, two-time World Finals champions duking it out.
Looks like Jim Kohler and Colt Stevens go wide in turn 2, and it's going to be the execution in the last corner. Jim Kohler goes way wide.
Jim Kohler's going to have to want this. Here he is pushing to the finish. Big time air for Avenger. Flew almost entirely across that race lane, and Jim Kohler's moving on.
Wow, I thought it was over when Jim Kohler got into the fluff on the outside, but it looks like Colt Stevens grabs the pod just a little bit, doesn't get the drive he needs to clear the finish line jump, and Jim Kohler comes away with the win.
Here's your bracket going into the semifinal round. Lucas Stabilizer, Classroom Crusher, Zombie, Avenger, fastest time of the night so far, Zombie, 22.013. Coming up is the semifinal round with Gravedigger out. Who gets the racing win in Detroit? Find out next on Primetime. Monster Jam is brought to you by the Utah Sports Commission. Utah, the state of sports. Salt Lake City, Utah is the home of Monster Jam World Finals 24, but tonight's home, Ford Field in downtown Detroit, Michigan, where we reach the JCB Racing semifinals. And up first in this round, it's going to be a great race. We've got Lucas Stabilizer against Classroom Crusher, so Camden versus Cynthia. With more on lane choice, we hear from Leslie.
That gray lane is so slick, but when I talked to Cam's crew chief, he said he's going to stay over there. See, he didn't get to practice yesterday because they had electrical issues with the truck. So that's the only lane that he knows. So it's better to stay where you know what's going to happen than try something new.
Well, right now, speaking of something new, Cynthia Gauthier has the lead here. You want to talk about upsets? This would be a huge one, but Camden Murphy is able to come from behind and get the win, 21.913. Here's the original super glue to the action replay.
It looks like coming into that first corner, the front right tire hikes up just a little bit. She has to get off the gas. It pushes her wide, and that's the time she could not make up.
Next up, Jim Kohler in Avenger, Bari Musawwir Zombie. What a coup it would be for Jim Kohler to win a racing competition in his home state, in his hometown, in front of his hometown fans. And here we go. Winner moves on to the finals to meet Camden Murphy and Classroom Crusher.
Looks like Zombie gets a little swapped out coming off that first jump.
Into that straightaway. Now Zombie does have the lead. Final corner here. Bari turning around that blue pot. Jim Kohler, though, turning it on the far side gray lane. Zombie just too fast. And Bari Musawwir moving on again. Stays in the bracket, 22.413.
Check out the corner from Zombie here. Just perfect execution, staying so tight to that jump right there. And then in this last corner, he gets the brakes on, make sure the back of the truck is loose so he can get it turned around. Bari Musawwir on top.
There's the JCB Racing final. Camden Murphy Classroom Crusher, Bari Musawwir Zombie. Camden gets lane choice here with the fastest time of the night last round at 21.913. So there's Camden in the gray lane, staying there. As we heard Leslie talk about that, Zombie's Bari Musawwir in that blue lane. We'll see how he can do here. Bari undefeated against Camden so far this season, 5-0. Might be inside Camden's head a little bit here.
Oh, Bari up on two wheels. He's going to have to let off the gas. That means he has to make it up in these last two turns.
Slightly behind, so Camden Murphy with the lead going into that final corner, far side of the track. Camden Murphy Classroom Crusher. Bari again, a perfect turn in the blue lane. And Bari Musawwir gets it done in the blue lane. Zombie is your JCB Racing winner. Here's the original Super Glue to the action replay.
It just looked like Bari had a little more traction coming out of that last turn and comes away with a big win and 12 more points.
Fastest time of the night right there, 21.761 for Zombie's Bari Musawwir.
Bari, you really had the number on that final turn, and it seemed like the early kind of slow and steady approach is what took it for you.
Yeah, I saw that turn over here. It was pushing everybody out wide, so I said, all right, we got to set up for it early. It doesn't feel like the right thing to do because you feel like you're going to cut the turn pod short, but the truck just drifts right around it. So I got that down and, able to take that win. I kind of had Camden's number all year. I think it's in his head a little bit, but you know what? It's all a part of having fun in Monster Jam.
I was right. A little confidence action here for Bari Musawwir against Camden Murphy. Here's your first BKT leaderboard. Zombie gets 12, Classroom Crusher with 11, Lucas Stabilizer with 10, Avenger with 9, Jurassic Attack with 8, rounding out our current top 5. Next up in Detroit was the Monster Jam Skills Challenge. Drivers could attempt 2 technical maneuvers on 2 wheels so they could do a donut. And each driver was scored equally by both an expert judge and fans on creativity, skill, and execution. 12 points were up for grabs. Let's take a look back at our top 5, Adam. Here we go with Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger getting a bicycle.
He's going to get up on 2 wheels, try to turn into it, loses balance just a little bit.
Joe Foley in Axe going for a slap wheelie.
I love the fact that he's being creative, using that jammer on the outside, but gets a 90-degree wheelie up there and drags the wheelie bar.
Camden Murphy backing it up to container.
Gets off the container, nice little popper there. Gonna walk this thing out, see if he can get a combination move. Can't quite execute.
And then Chris Kohler just chilling mayhem on the container as well.
Gotta love that. Definitely took a page out of Adam Anderson's book on the opposite series. He's gonna walk this thing out across the floor, maybe try to go up this freestyle ramp. Gets a little moonwalk combination in there. See if he can walk this thing up just a little bit. Another moonwalk combination as well.
Now how about this? Getting the win with a donut, Bari Musawwir Zombie.
You have to love the creativity coming from these Monster Jam drivers. Bari Musawwir decides to do something just a little bit different. Look at the rotation that Bari has here.
2-time Guinness World Record holder. Powerful donut. Bari gets 12 more points with a win as we check out the BKT overall point standings after 2. He's perfect so far with 24. Classroom Crusher in second. Mayhem in third. Gravedigger and Lucas Stabilizer tied. 9 points off the lead. For Bari, it's his second skills win of the season. He has doubled down, having a great night. Let's join our winner with Leslie Mears.
Brian, I know you've got some strategy when it comes to skills. What made you decide to go for the donut, which led to this win here?
We had a lot of recoveries during the skills competition, and I figured, you know what, if I go down here and put down a really solid donut, I got a pretty good chance of getting a good score. I didn't think I was going to win. Chris Kohler did an amazing job in his hometown, so I was just coming along for the ride, and lo and behold, the fans are on our side. So, hey, man, I'm pumped up for freestyle. So it's anybody's game out here. I kind of hit the reset button, and I just go for broken freestyle. The truck is last, so we got to go out with a bang.
Zombie Nation is rocking tonight in Motown, but will Bari and Musawwir get the sweep? Freestyle is next on Primetime. Monster Jam is proud to partner with and support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Visit monsterjam.com/St. Jude to learn how you can join us in the fight against childhood cancer. We are back in the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan for more with Stadium Championship Series East. And welcome back to Monster Jam Primetime. If you're just joining us, Bari Musawwir has been perfect tonight, winning both competitions. Adam, we've seen Ryan Anderson, Tyler Menninga, Tristan England both start events by winning racing and skills. No one yet on a Stadium Series has a perfect event. What does Bari need to do tonight to make it happen?
I'm going to be a little cliche here, but he's got to stay consistent. That's what Bari does best. But also, he has to not focus on that perfect event. Just focus on the championship. Do what you do best. Put that in the back of your mind and just let the perfect event come to you.
There's points up for grabs as well, but right now we'll catch you up on the event points. Here's your BKT leaderboard. Zombie with 24, Classroom Crusher 3 points off the lead, Mayhem 8 behind, and then Gravedigger and Lucas Stabilizer tied, each 9 points off the pace. Take a look at a freestyle running order. Cynthia Gautier's 2 freestyle wins on this track. The Kohlers each have 1. How does Cynthia look in that 7th spot to you?
Well, the cool thing about that 7th spot is you're able to kind of see what's working, what's not working. You have a little leeway there, but Axe and Gravedigger 1 and 2, those are absolutely lethal. I look forward to this freestyle running order.
Well, we are going to waste no time here. We're going to head back down to the track at Ford Field to kick it off with the kid from Leicester, Massachusetts. It's Joe Foley in Axe. So freestyle Foley in action here tonight as we're about to take a look at our freestyle criteria. There you go, 30 seconds to qualify for a score. Failure to complete 1 minute at 1 point gets deducted. You want to see the drivers use all obstacles being scored on creativity, technical moves, and combinations. Adam, what would you think of Joe Foley's freestyle season so far in 2025?
You know, for Joe Foley, I would say he's in a slump this season in freestyle, and that's a hard thing to say about Joe Foley because in 2024, we've seen him just absolutely obliterate the competition on some nights. And it's definitely been a lot tougher going back into Axe to get those freestyle scores and continue that momentum. But for Joe Foley, it's something that you have to figure out. You're going to take your time. You had that first year where it's just absolutely phenomenal in El Toro Loco, and then you come back to Axe and you have a little bit of frustration. But it's something you're going to work through. He's going to get better, and he seems to be getting better week in and week out.
5 Stadium freestyle wins in 2024 led the series. Big air for Foley. It was jump after jump like that got him that number that propelled him into the stratosphere as one of the best freestyle drivers in the entire sport last year. A lot of fans were clamoring for him to have an opportunity at World Finals. So I'd love to see Joe get this thing back on track, get a freestyle win to really kickstart his confidence again, because we want to see that freestyle Foley that we saw last year. We might see it here, Adam. The Morgan to Morgan backflip right out of the gate, attempt number 1, and Joe Foley goes up. Well, he slow rolled the float, and he still manages to land it.
Yeah, it looks like he hit the brakes mid-air. He must have felt something that we did not see. We'll check that out on the replay. But Joe Foley, I agree with you. If he can get 1 win, that can change so much momentum and confidence in a driver. It would be key.
Incredible run to start the freestyle competition. Here's the original Super Glue glued to the action replay.
Joe Foley, huge air right here. Comes up just a little short, tries to get the truck under control. The BKT grabbing the dirt right there and hooking up. You see Joe Foley turn into it just enough to get it back on all 4s. And then here's that backflip, grabs the brakes just a little early, gets the rotation, and luck is on his side in Detroit.
Next up at Oskaloosa, Iowa, here comes Tyler Menninga in Gravedigger, your reigning World Finals freestyle champion. He's got 2 freestyle wins on the season, but when you talk about his average here, that's really been the difference. We've seen him struggle just a little bit. I know he's a series points leader, but his average of 7.292 is right in the middle. His average finish in freestyle is just outside the top 4 in 5th, so not what you expect to see out of Tyler Menninga.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you expect to see, but I think also we talked about it with the Andersons as well. He's getting used to that new truck chassis, and obviously there has been a lot of problems and a lot of adjusting going into that. It's been a difficult year for all the Gravedigger drivers in those new trucks. And it's something that they're dealing with. They're getting better week in and week out, but like you said, the consistency is what is not there. We've seen some shining moments from Tyler where we go, oh man, that's the old Tyler we know and love, but we've also seen some moments like, where did that come from?
Tyler Menninga has been one of the best drivers, if not the best driver in Monster Jam. And Ryan Anderson might argue with that over the last couple of seasons, winning multiple series championships, winning multiple World Finals championships. Now just trying to hang on to the series points lead and keep Bari Musawwir away from the top of that season point standings leaderboard.
Yeah, right now for Tyler, it's all about getting points, as many as he can get in every competition. It's going to be very crucial.
Morgan backflip attempt here for Gravedigger. Tyler Menninga comes into the container. Tyler Menninga flips the truck. Gravedigger lands it nicely, and there's your score to beat, 8.996 out of Joe Foley. We'll see if Tyler Menninga's done enough to do that. Comes up over the backside of that step up onto the ski jump ramp. Now picking up the throttle again. Nice jump. Tyler lands it, gets a little wobbly. He's able to put it into a slap wheelie combination. And he is not done till the backflip ramp says he's done. And now we're going to go to the original Super Glue Blue to the action replay.
Here's the backflip here. Great execution. Hits the throttle, grabs the brakes at the last second to slow that truck down. And then you can see a big air right here onto flat. Sees the opportunity to get that wheelie, sets it down, turns the truck, runs into the backflip container. Great truck awareness and driving from Tyler Menninga once again.
Tyler Menninga awaiting the score from the fans and the expert judge, 8.780. Obviously frustrated as the frustrating night continues for the World Finals Freestyle champion. Freestyle Foley is back at the top of the leaderboard, but will he stay there? Freestyle continues next on Primetime. Welcome back to round 14 of Monster Jam. Today's festivities kicked off with the most family-oriented pit party in motorsports as fans arrive to meet their favorite drivers, take pictures with the trucks. And if you want to attend the pit party at your next Monster Jam event, get your tickets at monsterjam.com. Moments ago, freestyle continued with Jurassic Attack, but Dalton White would end up rolling. The truck tries to shoot the gap, runs into an obstacle, and then it ends up on the side of Jurassic Attack. Let's keep the competition going. Out next from Columbus, Michigan, is Chris Kohler in Mayhem. Making his third start at Ford Field. Who could forget Adam last year in Northern Nightmare? Fans going crazy to see that truck back in a Monster Jam competition. Chris Kohler comes out, brings that IP back, and wins freestyle on his home track. What a moment that was.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those moments we're not going to forget in Monster Jam, and I'm sure Chris won't forget for his entire career. It's something that as a driver, as a racer, you remember that you have in these certain stadiums, and it's going to give him confidence. It's going to give him so much just clout and feeling for this stadium to come out here and do well.
He does have 2 freestyle wins on the season. It's been almost a boom or bust strategy here. Maybe not even necessarily a strategy, but we're really seeing Chris either go big and put in runs of the year or sometimes just come up a little bit short. And I know that's been frustrating for him, but he has had some great runs here so far this season.
Yeah, and that's hard too, because you get into a little bit of a slump where you're like so frustrated as a driver. Why can't I get this done? What's going on? That hood is really covering
I don't even know if he can see right now at all. He's just riding blind. He's probably his crew chief in his ear telling him where he's at. But my goodness, that hood was right in front of his vision.
Yeah, you get into a slump sometimes. Here he comes into the backflip.
Morgan backflip for Mayhem. Mayhem brings it up and Mayhem brings it down. So another successful backflip as we look at the score to beat.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is sometimes you just have to make a change and go all out, and sometimes that's what Chris is going to do. You know, he's going to throw caution to the wind, go absolutely incredibly big and just make it happen and try to force it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Working for him right now. Here goes right into that ramp, and Chris Kohler just came in with 1,500 horsepower, and that's going to send him on his side.
Here he comes into the backflip container here. Great rotation. Lands on all 4 BKTs. Gets a little spin there, but nothing crazy. And then right here, just comes around that corner. Looks like he didn't see that coming up. Hits that ramp and throws him on the hood.
Our next competitor is with Team Throttle Monster. It's Mike Christensen driving Vendetta. Mike has gotten in on the Team Scream action here in Michigan. With more on this, we head back to our pit reporter, Leslie Mears.
Fun fact, guys. Our Monster Jam drivers are just like the fans. They love to collect merch and memorabilia. And what's really cool is Jim Kohler and Mike Christensen actually swapped shirts earlier this week. So Mike is wearing his Avenger shirt underneath his fire suit tonight. And he said he's going to find out if it's going to become a lucky shirt or if it's going to become a shop shirt if it doesn't bring him the luck he's looking for tonight.
Thank you, Liz. Adam, how come you and I haven't exchanged T-shirts? I feel very opportunity. But this is great, though. Mike is showing a fellow independent team some hometown support, and I'm sure Jim would probably do the same thing. We were in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's just love for competition and each other and that brotherhood that they have on the floor. It's really good to see, and sometimes it just does bring you that extra bit of luck, especially in the hometown crowd. Jim Kohler, always a favorite here in Detroit, but Mike Christensen so far putting on a great freestyle run. I like the momentum that he has. You need to see that big wow moment, but so far definitely a little different.
Mike having one of his most consistent freestyle seasons in recent memory, averaging 8.247. Has not missed a competition either. Here comes Vendetta. Mike's starting to feel it a little bit right up over the ramp. Gets some nice air, brings it back down. You got to wonder if he's going to head over to the backflip ramp. And here he goes, Morgan & Morgan backflip for Vendetta. Mike Christensen not want to shy away from this. Vendetta is up. And Vendetta going to bounce
Big
hard.
bounce.
We'll see if he can catch it. He's got it over. And he's going to try to get this thing into gear. And he's got
Throttles
it.
out.
Mike Christensen with a save of the night so far, keeping the run going, coming for the freestyle lead.
That'll bring the excitement up for these fans in Detroit. A double backflip, slow rotation. Mike Christensen pulls one out of his hat there.
Reevaluated his saves right there and went right for it. Got it. And now Vendetta still going here. Mike Christensen looking for the freestyle win in Motown. A little donut action here to close it out. And Vendetta off the rails tonight in Detroit. Here's the original Super Glue Glue to the action replay.
What a move off the backflip container. Under rotates just a little bit. Gets a big bounce off the BKTs. There's that slow roll we're looking for, but he has the truck awareness to be able to hit the throttle once again. Perfect rotation. Wow, what a move.
Mike Christensen, Vendetta 9.525, celebrating on the track. There's your new leader, Mike Christensen, Vendetta. Well, Vendetta just laid down the run of the night, but is it enough to win it all? More Monster Jam Freestyle is next on Primetime. Monster Jam is brought to you by Spin Master. Crush it, crash it, jam it. Welcome back to Ford Field in Detroit. Moments ago, freestyle continued. Cynthia Gauthier, Lucas Stabilizer with a big-time sky wheelie. And then Armando Castro, Toro Loco, goes for the backflip here.
Watch the backflip. He's going to get the combination move, grab the container, and he gets shut off.
That brings us to Camden Murphy in Classroom Crusher. He comes into this competition trailing the overall event lead by just 3 points. 7th Detroit start here for Camden Murphy, first in Classroom Crusher. Never won a freestyle in this building. His best finish here was 3rd place. Does have one freestyle win on the 2025 season.
For Camden Murphy, it just seems like it's been a big building year for him in Classroom Crusher. You know, he hasn't been as dominant as he was in Bakugan Dragonoid, and that has to be frustrating, but you have to think with this new IP, getting these fans to fall in love with that IP and vote for him and get the scores is very tough. When you bring something new into the sport and nobody knows it, they're a little bit standoffish at first, but it seems like everybody loves the school bus and he's starting to find that momentum.
Well, they're growing pains when you have a new truck, especially one where there's such fanfare around it. I had him on Inside Monster Jam. He did say, yeah, there's definitely going to be a learning curve for me, an adjustment period trying to figure this out. You have to change your vision points, you have to change your settings, and you have to try to figure out how to power this machine. So he has started to come on as of late. Freestyle for him has been really where he's struggled a bit. His average on the year, 7.717. You'd ultimately would like to see him get that up over 8 if he gets the invite to World Finals and maybe make a splash in Salt Lake City.
So far, so good in this freestyle. He's got the momentum, hits the brakes, has to slow turn there.
Camden Murphy means business. He's coming on this side of the track. That can only mean the Morgan backflip attempt here for Classroom Crusher. And here comes Camden Murphy. We've seen some successful backflips tonight. There's one into a moonwalk for Camden Murphy. So Classroom Crusher moonwalking his way back to the classroom, and he's not done yet. There's some air for Camden Murphy. He is starting to feel it, build the momentum, and then he runs right into that obstacle, goes up, almost goes down, but he's able to make the save.
The skill that it took to make that save was unbelievable, and then a huge air over the freestyle ramp.
I was gonna say, I don't know if he's gonna make that one, but he did get there, and then unfortunately just loses it on the second save attempt. But what a save for Camden Murphy. Check it out on the original Super Glue Reaction replay.
Well, we're gonna watch the backflip here, but we're really looking for that combination. He's gonna get the bounce off the back BKTs, throws it in reverse, walks it out for a little bit on one BKT tire. Wow, and then here, a huge air off the freestyle ramp, gets a little sideways, does a cartwheel there like he's back in school. Unfortunately, lands on the hood, and that will end his night.
No detention for Camden Murphy. Jim Kohler, Avenger, driving Avenger's 25th year. With more on Jim and his strategy going into freestyle, let's go to Leslie Mears.
Guys, there are some pretty gnarly ramps out here. Jim Kohler tested the waters for that in the skills competition and then had a little bit of damage that he had to take care of in the back. But other than that, he said after halftime, they cut these ramps perfect for him. There's a couple ramps out here that have been reserved kind of just for him that he kind of talked to the dirt squad about and got them to kind of put a little bit of a preference on it for him and his driving style.
All right, thank you, Liz. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a hometown show. Give him a little fluff there with some of these ramps to give the fans what they want. Mr. Excitement making his 17th start in Detroit. One freestyle win in those 17 starts that came back in 2008. There's your score to beat Vendetta, 9.525.
And to me, that's just telling me that Jim Kohler really wants to give something special to these Detroit fans. He wants that little bit extra. It's right here!
Big time
huge air!
Really, for Jim Kohler, but he's gonna go right into the berm. And that'll do it. Just bad placement on the jump. Brad Allen feeling it a little bit, trying indifferent here. All the emotions Brad Allen's got.
Wow, my jaw hit the floor. Jim Kohler, Mr. Excitement, sends it to the moon in Detroit. Lands on those two BKTs, gets a bad bounce, breaks the shock off, but the crowd is on their feet.
Here's your current freestyle leaderboard. Some news coming out of Skills. Megalodon unable to compete due to some damage. There's your leader, 9.525 from Mike Christensen in Vendetta. Up next, the event championship, the series points leader on the line for Zombie when Monster Jam Primetime returns. We are back with the conclusion of freestyle here in Detroit. Up next, out of Houston, Texas, is two-time World Finals champion Colt Stevens piloting Thunderosaurus. Mentioned the driver lineup. The Colt does have an overall event championship in this building. He won an event here last year, has struck out so far 0 for 2 in the competitions. What would a freestyle win tonight do for Colt Stevens' confidence?
Well, obviously it's going to, push him to have so much momentum towards the end of the series. But for Colt Stevens, I think it's just getting it turned around a little bit. It's been frustrating for him, especially, in the same sense that he kind of has those expectations like Tyler Menninga does. He is a World Finals champion and he has so many accolades to him that we expect so much, and when we don't see that week in and week out, it's very tough. So he's putting the pressure on himself right now, and to me, if he gets a freestyle win, it's almost going to be a little bit of relief for Colt Stevens.
He shined in big moments, winning 2 consecutive World Finals championships in freestyle and in the high jump. Trying to get to World Finals for a 3rd straight year after leaving the broadcast booth. Thunderosaurus out on the back side of the berm, comes in right down on that ramp. 9.525 is the score to beat. Colt Stevens going to turn in now to the Morgan & Morgan backflip. Here comes Thunderosaurus, another backflip attempt here in Monster Jam. Thunderosaurus goes up. That was a strong one. Flips it all the way around. Tries for a moonwalk, but he's got a container right behind him. Just made too much on it.
That is so frustrating as a Monster Jam driver Great rotation, and then he's gonna brake check here to try to get the truck settled, but those back BKTs bounce up, he hits the container, and that will end his run.
That brings us to our final competitor, the overall event leader, Bari Musawwir and Zombie. You're ready for some Jordan math here.
Yeah, it is going to be the moment of the night. There is so much pressure on Bari Musawwir. This could be something that he never forgets for the rest of his life if he can come away with a perfect event, Scott.
Adam, I asked you if you're ready for some Jordan math. I was going to lay what's on the line for Bari Musawwir, but thank you for that incredible analysis. That is your job. A 7th place finish or better wins the event championship. If he wins freestyle, he takes sole possession of the series points lead.
Wow, so much pressure on the line. Can Bari pull this out right now?
3 freestyle wins in 2025. He's got the 2nd highest average on the series. 3 overall event championships on this series, which ties him for 1st. Bari knows what's on the line. It's not just about the perfect event. It's about the overall event championship and the series points lead. He could do all 3 in one fell swoop.
Bari Musawwir, great momentum so far. He's driving the truck well, slinging this thing across the stadium. Definitely has some solid jumps in there. Needs to get that wow moment. Needs to nail that backflip.
Clips the back end of that ramp. Bari Musawwir able to make the save, catches it, and now Bari Musawwir is going to turn in for another backflip. We have seen backflip after backflip tonight. If Zombie lands it could be the series points lead. And Zombie goes up, Zombie goes down, and Bari's going to land the backflip with some time left on the clock. Let's see if he get a wow moment right here off the back end of the berm, and right on the center of the track. He's going to try to save it, and Bari makes the save, and that could very well be your new series points leader.
Bari Musawwir, great execution on the backflip. The rotation was perfect, gets the truck settled. He'd probably seen the other drivers grab the container, worried about that. No worries there. And then this last and final jump, big bounce, turns into it here. Gets a lucky roll there and lands on all 4 BKTs.
Take a look at our final freestyle leaderboard. So Zombie going to finish in 2nd. Vendetta gets the win. Axe in 3rd. Gravedigger in 4th. And Avenger in 5th. For Mike Christensen's first freestyle win of the season, he's on the track with Leslie.
The phenomenal save, the big air. I want to know what was going through your mind as you were going for that backflip, and then you rolled over and you were able to save it.
You know, it's so hard to go after guys like Tyler, Menninga, and Gravedigger, Dalton Widener. I was just kind of point and shoot at every single obstacle that came in my way. Once I did the flip and I was sitting upside down, I'm literally thinking to myself, man, my wife's gonna be so upset. I hit the throttle and the truck moved, and I'm like, oh wow, like I'm still on the ground. Somehow it came back over, but you know, I was fortunate enough to get a good score, had a wild save. Should have hit the step up a little bit harder, but all in all, it was great. I had so much fun. I've never been loved here in Detroit, and to get so much love here, it's awesome to take the freestyle win. I might have to take this thing home and like put it in my gear bag and wear Jim Kohler's shirt every time I want to do a phenomenal freestyle.
Here's the final BKT overall point standings. Bari Musawwir 1 point shy of the perfect event with 35. Classroom Crusher in 2nd. Gravedigger in 3rd. Mayhem in 4th. And Axe in 5th. Bari earns his 4th overall event championship of the year, which now leads the series. So let's go back to the track at Ford Field to rejoin Leslie Mears and our champion.
A huge night for you, Bari. The highest score that we've seen posted on this tour this season, and you make up so much ground on Tyler in one single event.
Yeah, you know, to make up that much ground against Tyler Menninga, who's one of the best Monster Jam athletes on the planet. You know, that's a pretty epic night for us. Team Zombie, Julian, Contrail, man, I owe a lot to those guys. They turn the wrenches on Zombie, and they give me a good piece every time out. So, man, these fans were turned up tonight in Detroit. It was like capacity crowd. I don't even know if there was any seats. So it's awesome to be able to do well in front of a crowd like that. We're just going to keep our foot on the gas for the whole season now.
Thank you, Leslie. So big time night for Bari and Team Zombie. Adam, you were right. Bari did miss the perfect event by 1 point. Still gets the overall event championship, but more importantly, the bigger goal was achieved here. He's now tied with Tyler Menninga for the series points lead and takes the hardware.
Yeah, I think for Bari Musawwir, we're witnessing one of the best events he's ever driven and the best season he's ever driven in. For Tyler Menninga and Bari Musawwir, this season is just heating up, and I can't wait to see more.
For Adam Entignap and Leslie Mears, I'm Scott Jordan. Thanks for watching. We'll see you right here next time on Primetime.